Welcome to SATV News. This is Kazi Farhana with your headlines. Chief Advisor Dr. Yunus signs historic July Charter. Police clashes with July warriors near Sanshad Bhavan. Signing or not signing July Charter party's own decision, says Dr. SATV Zahid. Shibir-backed panel sweeps 20 out of 23 central polls in Iraq election. Mustafa Rahman Zahid elected as VP. Now in details. Chief Advisor Professor Muhammad Yunus today signed much-awaited July National Charter 2025. The Chief Advisor signed the Charter this afternoon at the July National Charter signing ceremony at the South Plaza of the Jatiya Sanshad Bhavan. Leaders of different political parties including BNP, Jamaat Islami and Amar Bangladesh Party and members of the National Consensus Commission also signed the document. The ceremony began at 4:25 p.m. in the festive manner with the Chief Advisor in the chair. The Charter noted that following various political developments in the country returned to democracy through the parliamentary elections of 1979, initiated by the reintroduction of a multi-party system in 1978. However, that democratic path was short-lived. The Charter criticized the three consecutive controversial elections of 2014, 2018 and 2024. Saying they undermine the electoral system, politicize the judiciary, law enforcement and public administration and facilitated corruption. The Charter also reflects on the persistent democratic movements of the last 16 years, including road safety movement in 2018, anti-quota movement and student-led anti-discrimination movement, and culminating in the broad-based mass uprising against fascism in July 2024. Finally, the Charter contains a 7-point commitment urging political party representatives to sign it and uphold the will of the people expressed in the July 2024 uprising, grounded in the democratic principles and national consensus. Tension flared near the National Parliament building this afternoon as police clashed with the members of the July warriors during their protest demanding recognition as July uprising heroes. The confrontation began around 1:20 p.m. when demonstrations attempted to enter the Parliament complex through the gate number 12. Law enforcers intervened, forcing them out of the restricted area. In response, agitated protesters broke the gate and vandalized several vehicles, including 2 police cars, trucks and buses. To disperse the crowd, police fired tear shells, sound grenades and used batons while protesters retaliated by throwing bricks and stones. The clash led to several rounds of chase and counter-chase between the two sides, causing panic in the surrounding area. Law enforcement personnel have brought the situation under control, though small groups of protesters were still seen throwing projectiles from a distance. Signing or not signing July Charter party's own decision, Dr. Zahid, BNP Standing Committee member Dr. SATV Zahid signed today said that whether or not to sign the July Charter is entirely up to each political party and that there should be no concern over its eventual implementation. Speaking to reporters after paying tribute at the grave of the late President Ziaur Rahman, Zahid said if the NCP feel like signing it later, they can. Maybe their expectations or demands were not fulfilled. He also said there is no reason for anyone to be worried about the implementation of the July Charter as the state has taken the responsibility for it. He added that he had seen on Facebook that a party had announced it would not attend the signing ceremony, but also indicated it might join discussions at a later stage. Zahid further said the whole country is eagerly waiting to see who signs the July Charter and who doesn't, and how it will be implemented. Once the state makes a decision, there is no reason for anyone to feel fear or doubt about its implementation. The Shibir-backed সম্মিলিত Shiksharthi Jot panel has secured a sweeping victory in the Rajshahi University Central Students' Union election 2025, winning 20 out of 23 central posts, including the positions of Vice President and Assistant General Secretary. Chief Returning Officer Professor Ziaur Rahman announced the official results around 9:30 a.m. today at the university's Qazi Nazrul Islam Auditorium. He said the elections were held peacefully in a festive environment. A total of 20,187 students out of 28,901 eligible voters cast their votes in the polls. According to the result, Mustaqur Rahman Zahid of the Shibir-backed panel was elected vice president by securing 12,887 votes, defeating his nearest rival Sheikh Nuruddin Abir of the Oikkoboddho Notun Projonmo panel, backed by Jatiotabadi Chhatra Dol, who received 3,397 votes. However, the General Secretary post Wainton Salahuddin Ammar, a coordinator of the anti-discrimination student movement, who contested from the Adhipatya Birodhi Oikko panel. The devastating fire that broke out at a factory in the Chattogram export processing zone was brought under control after 17 hours of frantic efforts, the fire service said this morning. A total of 25 firefighting units from several stations managed to bring the blaze under control at about 7:15 a.m., said Joshimuddin, Deputy Assistant Director of Chattogram Fire Service and Civil Defence in Agrabad. The building had been declared as a fire risk 1, he said. Joshim said that 2 bodies had been formed to investigate the incident, one by the fire service and another by the CEPZ authorities. The 5-member fire service committee had been asked to submit its report within 15 days, while CEPZ committee comprising 5 members would submit its finding within the 5 days, officials said. The fire originated at about 2 p.m. on Thursday on the 8th floor of the Adam Cab factory in the Sector 1, road number 5 of CEPZ, and later spread to lower floors, according to officials. 190 police today said that they had recovered 190 boris of gold and arrested 4 people over a recent theft at a jewellery shop Fortune shopping mall in front of Mochak Market at Malibag in Dhaka. The detective branch of the Dhaka Metropolitan Police Additional Deputy Commissioner MD Shafiqul Islam revealed the information at a press briefing at the DMP Media Center in the morning. He said that DB police conducted drives in past 72 hours in different districts across the country, including Chattogram, Faridpur and Borishal, and recovered about 190 boris of gold, 93.5 grams of rupa, over 1 lakh taka in cash, and arrested 4 people along with a motorcycle over the theft that took place on October 9. A case was filed with Ramna Police Station in this connection. He said that the DB police began shadow investigation on the incident and identified a group that was involved in the theft. The looters planned for 3 months before the looting and hid different tools, including hammers, shovels and other things under the tin roof behind the market in advance, he described. Viewers, we're taking a short break. Stay with us.
World-class gym facility with exclusive equipment for man and woman. A restaurant of delicious local and international cuisine. Fully air-conditioned building with spacious banquet, car lift, sky view rooftop restaurant, all in one. Grand Club Limited, Mirpur 10, Dhaka.
কি এমন জিনিস যেটা সব লোকে খায়, ছোটরা খেলে পরে কেঁদে মায়ের কাছে যায়, বৃদ্ধ লোক খেলে পরে মাথায় দেয় হাত, যুবক যুবতীরা খেলে পরে এদিক ওদিক তাকায়।
ছেড়ে দে শয়তান, ছেড়ে দে, দেহ পেলে আমার মন পাবি না, ছেড়ে দে।
কোন ফলের বীজ নেই বলো দেখি দাদা, বলতে না পারলে হবে তুমি গাধা।
মন্দিরা চক্রবর্তী কার সাথে প্রেম করছে?
আমি এখন মা হতে চলেছি।
চিনেছি তোমারে আকারে প্রকারে, দিনের আলো রাতের আধারে।
কোন বাসায় শুধু দুজন থাকে, দরজা জানালা ছাদ কিছুই থাকে না?
পা, পায়ের নুপুর, ছন্দ,
মনে হচ্ছে কি ছু দিয়ে জাদু মন্ত্র করছে।
এক্স্যাক্টলি, পায়েরে নুপুর আমার।
অরিক্স স্পেশাল সেলিব্রিটি শো তারকার ঝলক দেখবেন প্রতি শুক্রবার রাত 9:30 মিনিটে।
ভালোবাসা একবার তুমি বউ কইয়া ডাকো।
হ্যাঁ গো,
আর কত দূর?
আরে আমি তো ফিডের গাড়ির লগে।
তো তোমার গরু হাঁস মুরগি মাছ তো অনশন শুরু কইরা দিছে।
কি কও অনশন শুরু কইরা দিছে
কেডা?
হাঁস মুরগি মাছ
আরে ওগো মতি গতি দেখা মনে হইতাছে এসএফএম ছাড়া কিছুই খাইবো না।
হ্যাঁ গো এসএফিটার খবর ওরা জানলো কেমনে?
আরে ভালো জিনিসের খবর ছড়াতে কি আর মাইক লাগে? খবর ভাসে বাতাসে বাতাসে।
আরে দেখো এসএফিটার জাদু
সম্পূর্ণ নিজস্ব তত্ত্বাবধানে বিশেষ।
Welcome back to watching SATV News. News from abroad. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro said on Thursday that the U.S. has, for the first time, openly said that it is carrying out CIA operations in the country, as a Reuters exclusive revealed that a new U.S. strike against an alleged drug vessel in the Caribbean had left survivors. Speaking at an event in Caracas, Maduro said the CIA had already plotted against former President Hugo Chavez and himself. A U.S. official who spoke on condition of the anonymity to Reuters said the U.S. military carried out a new strike on Thursday. The official, however, did not offer additional details about the incident, which has not been previously reported. Prior to Thursday's operation, U.S. military strike against suspected drug boats of Venezuela on Thursday killed at least 27 people, raising alarms among some legal experts and democratic lawmakers who question whether they adhere to the laws of the war. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Donald Trump thinks that Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro is an illegitimate president, leading an illegitimate regime. 2025 Nobel Peace Prize laureate Maria Corina Machado said on Thursday that Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's government is sustained by the inflow of illegal streams from drug trafficking and other criminal activities, and that these flows must be cut off. While the United States carried out another strike on what authorities described as a narco vessels in the Caribbean. Machado spoke in an interview with the Colombian outlet NTN24, adding that the peace Venezuelans want is based on freedom. The 58-year-old Indian also referred to a question about the Mexican president not congratulating her on the Nobel Award. We all know that silence often say more than grand ornate speeches, she said, adding that the support she had felt from Mexico has been wonderful.
Supuesta paz que es esclavitud. La paz.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday warned that further U.S.-backed intervention could be necessary if Hamas fails to uphold its ceasefire commitments in Gaza. Trump added that additional bodies of hostages held by Hamas were returned to Israel. Hamas said on Thursday that return of Israel hostages bodies may take time as some were buried in the tunnels destroyed by Israel and others remains under the rubble of the buildings that Israel bombed and destroyed, adding the group remained committed to the Gaza agreement and keen to hand over all the remaining bodies of the hostages held in Gaza. The retrieval of the remaining bodies required equipment to remove rubble, which was currently unavailable due to Israel's ban on entry of such tools, Hamas added. Meanwhile, Donald Trump also said that he expects to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin soon, probably within the next couple of weeks.
I understand they brought back some additional bodies today.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump later in the day to discuss the potential U.S. supply of long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, a move that could increase tensions between Russia and Ukraine. Earlier, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met U.S. government officials and defense companies' representatives. Zelensky and his delegation held meetings with U.S. Department of Energy Secretary Chris Wright and representatives from Lockheed Martin and Raytheon. Earlier, Donald Trump said he spoke with Russia's President Vladimir Putin on Thursday about the potential Tomahawk missile supply.
It is an honor and privilege for our corporation.
Palestinian Prime Minister Mohammed Mustafa addressed the issues of rebuilding Gaza following the U.S. brokered Israel-Hamas ceasefire agreement in a press conference in Ramallah on Thursday. Mustafa said that the Ramallah-based Palestinian Authority would to work with international institutions and partners to address Gaza's security, logistical, financial and governance challenges. An upcoming conference in Egypt on Gaza's reconstruction would need to clarify how donor funds would be organized, who would receive them, and how they would be disbursed. Mustafa told reporters the United States, along with the Egypt, Qatar and Turkey, mediated what has been described as the first phase agreement between Israel and Hamas for a ceasefire and the release of the hostages by Hamas and prisoners and detainees by Israel.
The 5-year program is structured in 3 sequential.
Israel will achieve all goals of the Gaza war it had set out to accomplish, said Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Thursday. Speaking at a state ceremony for fallen soldiers during the 2-year conflict with militant group Hamas, Netanyahu also said Israel's enemies learned that anyone who lifts a hand against it will pay a heavy price. The Gaza war began when Palestinian militants from Gaza, led by Hamas, stormed Israeli border communities, a music festival and army bases on October 7, 2023. They killed 1,200 people and kidnapped over 250 others into Gaza, most of them civilians, according to Israeli tallies. Israel launched an offensive into the coastal territory in retaliation, killing nearly 68,000 Palestinians, most of them civilians, according to Hamas Health Ministry. The hard-left French opposition warned French President Emmanuel Macron that was living on borrowed time on Thursday after his prime minister survived 2 non-confidence votes in parliament. Sébastien Lecornu won crucial backing from the Socialist Party thanks to his pledge to suspend Macron's contested pensions reform, meaning the most dangerous motion secured only 271 of the record 289 votes. The France and Bold movement, which tabled one of the motions, said it should continue to seek to have Macron ousted by Parliament, a long and complicated process unlikely to succeed as it does not have the backing of the other parties. Prime Minister Lecornu, like President Emmanuel Macron, is on borrowed time, and sooner rather than later, the President of the Republic will have to go, Mathilde Panot told the media after the vote. Madagascar's COP leader, Colonel Michael Randurerin, was sworn in as the president on Friday after the military took power in the island nation this week, following youth-led protests that forced Andry Rajoelina to the flee. The swearing in the ceremony took place at the High Constitutional Court. Randurerin said a new chapter was being opened in Madagascar, adding that he was committed to breaking with the past. Ex-leader Andry Rajoelina, whom lawmakers impeached after he fled abroad the weekend, has condemned the takeover and refused to step down while in exile despite widespread defections in the security forces and the High Constitutional Court ratifying the army takeover within hours of it happening. The African Union and the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres have condemned the COP, which came after weeks of the Gen Z protest. Greek Parliament on Thursday approved a government bill allowing the extension of working hours in the private sector despite protests by the workers, who say that the reforms is hurting their rights amid rising living costs and low wages. The bill, which the government says is aimed at making labor market more flexible and effective, allows employers to seek up to 13 hours of work a day from their staff compared with the current 8 hours. The extended work shift can apply only for up to 37 days a year, the Conservative government says, adding that the bill fulfills labor market demands and also protects workers from being fired if they refuse to work overtime. The main opposition, PASOK party, and a small party say the reforms are outdated and in sharp contrast with Greeks' expectations following a debilitating debt crisis from 2009 to 2018 and a Europe-wide trend of reducing working hours. Not even the employees came to defend the logic of the 13-hour workday, said today in the parliament the PASOK member of the parliament, Pavlos Christidis. Mongolian Prime Minister Gambozan Jendastas has stepped down after losing support of the country's parliament, vacating the pivotal role after taking office just 4 months ago. Lawmakers on Friday voted for the dismissal of the Zandashita's former foreign minister and parliamentary speaker, following a meeting, according to China's official Xinhua news agency. The 55-year-old was confirmed as the country's 32nd prime minister of the zone after his predecessor, Luwas Maskor, Quinn Endren, quite also after losing parliamentary backing due to corruption claims and street protest. Ukhana Kurilskos, Mongolia's head of the state and president since 2021, is expected to nominate the next prime minister, who would require the approval of the state Great Khural of parliament. Three people were killed and at least 13 others injured after an explosion ripped through an apartment block in the Romanian capital here on Friday, authorities said. The blast, which struck a residential building on Cheile Rahove, caused extensive damage to several apartments. Many of the injured suffered trauma and burns, according to emergency officials. The health minister said it had set up a crisis cell to coordinate with the DSU, the interim ministry and emergency hospitals. Officials are assessing available intensive care beds and reallocating the medical resources to treat the injured. Firefighters deployed 20 emergency vehicles to the site on Cheile Rahove, and the Red Intervention Plan was activated to ensure a coordinated response. The General Inspectorate for the Emergency Situation said pupils and teachers from a nearby high school were evacuated as a precaution. Authorities are investigating the cause of the explosion and the time. Yemen's Houthis said on Thursday that their Chief of Staff Mohammad Abdi al-Karim al-Gamari, one of the most senior military officials of the Iran-backed group, was killed while fulfilling his duty. Without directly blaming Israel for this killing, Houthis said that the conflict with Israel had not ended. Israel will receive its deterrent punishment for the crimes it has committed. The group added, in August, Israel targeted the Houthis group's chief of staff, defense minister, and other senior figures in strikes on Sana'a in the Yemen, in which the prime minister of Yemen's Houthi-run government and several other ministers were killed. Israel had said that the airstrike had targeted the al-Gamari defense minister and other senior officials, or that it was verifying the outcome. Gamari was a member of the Houthis Jihad Office, led by Abdul Malik al-Houthi, which is responsible for overseeing military operations. The Houthis leader Abdul Malik al-Houthi said last week the group will monitor Israel's compliance with the Gaza ceasefire agreement and will resume support for Gaza if Israel fails to comply. Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party continued talks on Friday with leaders of the right-leaning Japan Innovation Party, known in Japanese as Ishin, on the possible coalition. Ishin co-leader Fumio Fujita said that this meeting with LDP leader Sanae Takaichi saw progress made on finalizing an agreement between the two parties, although a final announcement has yet to be made. Fujita also said that Ishin was ending talks with the opposition Constitutional Democratic Party and Democratic Party for the People, which had been holding three-party discussions with this week of effort deny LDP leader Takaichi on the role of Prime Minister in a parliamentary vote expected to take place next week. Before ending, I go to the headlines again. Chief Advisor Dr. Yunus Science strict July Charter, police clashes with July warriors near সংসদ Bhavan. Signing or not signing July Charter party's own decision, says Dr. Azadem. Shibir-backed panel sues 20 out of 23 central posts in Rakshur election. Mustaqur Rahman Zahid elected as VP. You're updated with the top 3 so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.